Good morning. I'm Doreen Christensen with the Sun Sentinel. I'm here at the Sun Sentinel Storm Desk. We have some updates for you coming up. But first, I'd like to say this Hurricane Irma update is presented by Florida Home Improvement Associates, the name you can trust for 40 years. Okay, we're going to get started. First, I have some updates on Hurricane Irma, and we will be also answering some of your questions. Talia Medina, Hurricane Buddy, is going to be helping with us on social media. So we're live on Facebook. Put your comments down in the comments if you have questions. If we can't answer them today, we will answer them in the comments later. So keep those questions coming. Share your funny memes because that'll lighten things up a little bit, right guys? We had some good ones yesterday, right Talia?
That's right, we did. And as Doreen said, we are monitoring the comments. Hey George, hi Anna, hi Sue. Thank you for tuning in. Please feel free to ask us any questions and we'll do our best to answer them. We have a couple questions already, so should we get started?
Okay, let's get started.
Okay, we've read curfews about, who's this question from? This is from Scott Travis. We've read curfews in Palm Beach County. What about in Broward County? Are there any curfews?
Okay, before we go to that, I want to introduce our storm experts. We have the hardest working man at the Sun Sentinel here again, David Fleschler. He's our hurricane expert. We also have our breaking news editor, Doug Phillips. So good morning from all of us to you.
I don't have a hurricane buddy though.
You don't, your buddy is David.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I mean, come on, man, hurricane buddies. You're the breaking news editor, he's the crazy storm guy, you know, he's like working like crazy. Okay, so our question, Talia, once again.
From Scott Travis. We've read about curfews in Palm Beach County. What about in Broward County?
Doug, can you answer that?
So far, there's been no announced curfews in Broward. They've been doing regular updates from their Emergency Operations Center. They're going to do another one a little bit later this morning. I suspect they probably will not have curfews, but if they do and they're announced, we'll certainly report that right away. They will have some other information about shelters and whatnot, so stay tuned for more information.
Are there any curfews in Miami-Dade?
Miami-Dade typically waits until something has happened before they do a curfew. They did that after Hurricane Andrew and after other storms that have been similar. So nothing yet on that, but if that changes, we'll also report that.
Perfect.
Okay, that's awesome. Let me just say one thing, you guys. Obviously, you got your Sun Sentinel newspaper today. Is that a headline or what? We're waiting. I mean, this is what we've been doing for days. So I just quickly want to let you know, if you're a subscriber to the Sun Sentinel, you should have received your paper today for Saturday or Sunday. There will be no more deliveries until your Sun Sentinel newspapers until safety allows after the storm. So log on to sunsentinel.com. We have dropped our paywall. There's free access. You can read all our storm coverage. You can get up to the minute updates from our two storm experts here, our hurricane buddies. And then I'm going to bring it back to Talia now. We have another question, and this is for David Fleschler.
Okay, and like I said, these are questions from you, so if I butcher your name, I'm so sorry. It's not intentional. This is from Elifer Baracha, wondering if there is any update on their families in St. Martin and getting them home safely.
Okay, that's a question for Doug. Can you answer
sorry,
that?
Doug.
Sure. Well, that's a real devastating situation over there. Right now, they're still in a life-saving mode and trying to make sure that people that they can find can be helped in some way. That Hurricane Irma really battered the Caribbean islands there, and they're not out of the woods with Hurricane Jose yet, which still may pose a problem, not for us, but for the Caribbean islands.
Let's not get into that right now. Oh my goodness.
And one interesting point, you probably seen that airport, I think it's the Princess Juliana Airport, where the planes, the jets come in very close to the beach and people hang on for dear life. That airport was practically leveled. So they have not only communication problems, food problems, transportation problems. So they're in a life-saving mode there at this point.
Doug, do we have any news on the death toll, like as it's roared across the Caribbean? Are there any preliminary numbers?
The number that comes to mind, subject to correction, was 26-ish. But that could be, either side could be a little wrong there, but that's the number that comes to mind right now.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doug. Talia, what else you got for us?
Gail Arnold would like to know if the hurricane is expected to drop to a Category 2 by the time it reaches mid-state.
David, what do you say?
According to the 8 a.m. advisory, it's still projected to be a category or major hurricane. That means Category 3 or above, north of Tampa Bay. So the answer is no.
Okay.
And Category 3 is like 111 miles per hour wind speed or
Can
higher.
you or Doug, whoever wants to, because you both know, give us a little update about what is happening with this storm right now? We're waiting, but what's happening?
Okay, I can do that. It's weakened a bit to 130 miles per hour as it's interacted with Cuba, but it's expected to strengthen as it goes over the open ocean, and then it's going to hit the lower Keys, like the Key West area,
As what, a
as a
Category
Category
3?
4.
As a 4.
Category
And
4.
what
The
winds are Cat
140,
4?
145, 150 mile per hour winds. It's going to be a really hard blow
Okay,
on the
so
Keys.
the Keys are in the bullseye right now.
After that, it's going to head. It's projected to head toward the west coast. I mean, it could still wobble to the east. I mean, nobody will say for sure, but the projections are it'll head toward the west coast. And the National Hurricane Center says it's very difficult to predict if or when it could make landfall on the west coast. It could run parallel to it. Remember, last year with Hurricane Matthew, nobody knew where it was going to make landfall, and it basically buzzed up the coast like 75 miles into the ocean, and nobody knew where it would hit. We could have a similar situation with Irma on the west coast. Tampa
Could it
Bay,
still,
Naples.
Windshield wiper, could
Sure.
it still wobble over?
That's
Sure.
what Jessica Langford wants to know, if it will miss or hit Miami.
Well-
Like in baseball, you know, there's this analogy, there's a magic number, like when you pass through and you have no chance of getting in the playoffs. What's the magic number for us? At what point does that eye wall get over and we're kind of out of the really scary danger zone?
Right. Late Saturday, Sunday morning, it's supposed to make its turn, the famous right turn everybody's been waiting for days, fairly late, and that's what would take it up the west coast. If it made the turn early, it would come closer to the east coast. But currently, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm are all outside of the cone, but the cone's been moving.
What other questions do people have
Yeah,
for them?
We've got tons of questions coming in.
Throw them out, girl.
Kaya Hall wants to know, what is landfall time?
It's going to make more than one landfall, probably. A landfall in the Keys would be early Sunday.
Early 5 a.m., 3 a.m.?
In that vicinity.
Okay.
Yeah. Landfall, then it might make a second landfall later in the day, in Naples or wherever.
Okay,
on the
so it's
west
kind of
coast.
going from the Keys and then going across up.
Yeah.
Okay.
A footnote on the Keys, if I could. We just got an advisory from their emergency management officials, and they're just telling people now that if you haven't gone, there's a window to get out, and it's closing quickly. So they're telling anybody
How
that's in the
quickly?
Keys.
Like a half hour, 3 hours, 2
Well,
hours?
as they expect tropical force winds to be there by noon today, so you can certainly drive in that. But once
How
you get
strong
beyond
is that? 45?
39 to 40
39,
to
okay,
45ish,
okay.
yeah. So you wouldn't want to be on that overseas highway with an RV buffering both ways in
No,
a
but
storm.
they've evacuated the Keys, correct?
Some
Doug?
people stay. Some
Okay,
people,
well, again, you know, if you stay in place, you're putting emergency officials at risk. You should follow your emergency operations center's instructions. You should listen to what you're told to do, but you're at your own risk at that point. They're not going to be able to come help you until after the storm is over. So,
On the note of Key West, Brett Samuels wants to know, when will Key West see the biggest impact? That really depends, right?
noon?
it probably wouldn't be noon today, but after sometime between noon today and noon in the next 24 hours.
Okay, next
Yeah,
24
closer to the
hours,
middle
you know,
of the
who could
night.
say?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
storm's got a mind of its own, it keeps, windshield wiper back and forth. Okay, Talia, any other questions we might have?
Lots. Jill Bentley wants to know if you guys know anything about opening more shelters potentially.
Yeah, what's the shelter situation?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Broward and Palm Beach were both opening more shelters because some of their shelters got full yesterday. So yes, more shelters were opening up in
But
both
now,
counties.
Doug, aren't they evacuating like Naples and other areas, and they're starting to start that process immediately, or is that
there are
already begun?
I've seen some mandatory evacuations for the west coast of Florida, I believe. And just to build on David's point, Broward is opening a couple of shelters because some of them got full, and they're opening 2 more this morning, including one that's a pet-friendly shelter at Lakeside Elementary in Pembroke Pines.
Pet-friendly shelter at Lakeside Elementary. So where should somebody, first of all, I want to say to you guys again, sunsentinel.com has all your latest information. If you're concerned about shelters, all of that is on our website. We're here for you. We're staying on top of the storm at sunsentinel.com. So if he can answer the question or we can't answer the question, go to the website, type your questions and comments, and our Facebook Live will be answering those. Okay, what you got?
We've got 2 people asking about if the storm will be like Andrew.
Well, this is a dangerous Category 4, possibly Category 5 storm. So what's your answer?
Well, Andrew, when it hit, was a Category 5. At the time, everybody thought it was a Category 4, but later analysis showed that it was actually a Category 5 when it made landfall in Elliott Key, southern Miami-Dade County. So this one is not projected to be a 5, it's projected to be a 4, but that's still devastating.
Yeah, I mean, there's very little difference between the two, right? I mean, these are pretty catastrophic winds.
Right, right.
So-
We'll have to just wait to see where it hits to see the impact.
I see. Okay, so Talia, you got any more questions for us?
Yes, we have someone, Deborah Kerr, asking about the expected storm surge up in the downtown Fort Lauderdale area.
There is expected to be a storm surge somewhere. They've reduced the projections, but it's still projected to be somewhere about 3 to 6 feet along the East Coast, coastal Broward, coastal Palm Beach, Miami-Dade.
So this is east of Federal Highway.
Yeah. Now,
Okay.
certain areas, the traditional areas that tend to flood, like the Las Olas Isles area of
Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale, the National Weather Service mentioned that area specifically yesterday as
Wow.
an area that could expect flooding.
So if you're in the Las Olas Isles area, you should really not be there.
Right, and downtown Miami, Miami Beach, obviously.
And these are all in mandatory evacuation zones, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And also, the tides are a little higher this time of year
Well, we
right
had a full
now.
moon like 2 days
Yeah,
ago,
we
so
did.
that's affecting tides, right?
We did. They said it's in the upper 3/4 of where the tides normally are, and on top of that will be the waves.
You
So-
know, there's a lot of people that are very storm weary. They've been preparing. They've been waiting in long lines for water, and South Florida really went into red alert and started preparing early, which was awesome. I've been here for years. I've never seen anybody get ready for a storm in South Florida this quick, but a lot of people are helping each other, and we wanted to share 1 or 2 little stories about that. So Talia, can you tell us?
So this was a note we got from one of our viewers yesterday, John Killeen. Sorry, John.
We massacred your name. We apologize.
I
but-
practiced too. I'm so sorry. Okay, so John went to Publix yesterday, and they had just run out of water. And an elderly woman next to him said that he could have one of her extras because she had spares. So he looked in her cart, and she only had 2 cases of water. So she was giving him one of those 2 cases.
That's great.
So he was
That's
just
great.
super appreciative of this woman and thanks her all the way to the parking lot. And it's nice to see neighbors helping neighbors in time of need. So we want to hear more
Yeah,
of
if you
your
have,
stories like this.
Right. If you have a story like that, go to the comments, tell us, we want to know that because it's so important for us to realize how important it is to band together in a situation like this. We need to help each other. That's what we saw in Harvey happening. A lot of heroic stories that were coming out of Harvey. We have no idea what's going to happen because, still waiting. So we are in it together, and it's very important for us to try to keep that in mind and help each other. Wasn't there a story that I read? I read a story about a generator at Home Depot. Can you tell that story real quick?
Yes, so I think that was in the Orlando area. There were a lot of people waiting in line for generators, and a man got the last generator, and the woman behind him started basically sobbing uncontrollably, so upset. And he asked her what was wrong, and she said that she needed the generator because her dad was on an oxygen tank and basically needed that to survive. So he gave her his generator.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. If you have a story like that, tell us because we want to know, and we'll give you a shout out right here. So, hey, you guys got anything else you wanna add to this?
We're waiting.
We're waiting. This
Wait.
is like a great headline. This is so true. We're waiting. I want to mention too, again, guys, sunsentinel.com has dropped its paywall. You can log on at any time. Our reporters are here on the ground. We are sheltering in place here in our newsroom. All of us are ready to, we have reporters deployed in the field. We're going to be bringing you information about that in future broadcasts. We're going to be doing this again and throughout the day. And I just want to say, everybody should be prepared, buttoned down. You should be sitting down, kind of taking a chill. Prepare if you still have time to prepare. How much longer do people have before, say, in Broward, obviously in Dade County, conditions are going to deteriorate rapidly? You should be buttoned up by what time in Dade?
In Dade?
Yeah.
By now.
Okay, you should be buttoned up in Dade. How about Broward? You got how much of a window here do you figure possibly?
They had earlier said that 9 a.m. was the earliest we could expect tropical force
Okay,
winds
so
in
be
Broward.
buttoned up by 9 a.m. Palm Beach?
A couple hours later. than
Couple
that.
hours later. So figure noon in Palm Beach. You need to be buttoned up and ready to go, and you need to then sit down and try to relax because we're all very tired from preparing our homes, and everybody's stressed out because we don't have the answers, and this is what a hurricane is all about. So again, I'm Doreen Christensen with the Sun Sentinel. We're here at the Sun Sentinel Storm Desk. We'll be coming to you live. Please go to sunsentinel.com for the latest update. David has a lot of work to do. Doug, our breaking news editor, who is amazing, is going to be bringing you all those stories on the website. Talia will be fielding your questions, and we will be answering your questions in the Facebook Live.
Yes, thank you so much for answering all your questions. I know we didn't get to all of them, but we will have someone going in and answering those for you.
Right, and do us a favor, share this so other people can see what we're doing and they can get their questions answered, It's great to have experts just right on hand where you can, in real time get answers to your questions. If we know the answers, we'll give them to you. If we don't, we'll get back to you. So, that's it. I'm Doreen Christensen with the Sun Sentinel. Stay safe out there, guys.